Welcome to our video bulletin for Friday the 12th of February. I'm walking the streets of South Liverpool at the moment, and it was on one of these streets last summer that I remember recording a video bulletin when then, just as now, we were only allowed to take our exercise locally. So South Liverpool is my playground. And last summer we were all very excited as we discovered online events and video conferencing and Zoom, and some of that lustre has worn off. So when we start Lent next week, we will do it with the Bishop of Liverpool as normal, as he celebrates in the heart of the city, as the Bishop always has done for over a century. And you'll see some very creative ways in which virtual ashing can take place. However, we're then going to move our in-person Lent programme, which is so well known, to 2022. We're not going to try and do online events so that you can stare at people delivering content to you online, just of course as you are at the moment. And we've already got some very exciting events lined up for 2022. However, this year we're inviting you to join Lent groups in a way that happens in most parishes across the church, across the country. And so this year we will put out a call, and please do respond to join us, and as we study and discuss together. It won't be anything too heavy. I'm not sure that we're up to heavy at the moment. You can also join us online by doing our Zoom social on Sunday evening. The first one was incredibly successful a couple of weeks ago, so do join us for that, and or come again if you came before. Bring a glass of wine or similar. Bring a top up as well, and we'll use breakout rooms. We'll use a place, so we'll use the facilities of conferencing so that we can chat to each other, because that's what we miss doing most. That way that after church we would just chat with each other, and by going into smaller groups and larger groups, we had great fun a fortnight ago. So do join again. The link went out in the e-bulletin on Wednesday. It will go out again tomorrow and land in your inboxes. Seeing each other after church is the thing that we most miss, and that's where in this Meet the Congregation segment on Fridays we've been able to catch up with people, find how they're doing in lockdown. This week Ian has been talking to Grace.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Meet the Congregation video. This week I'm here with a really special member of the congregation, Grace. Hi Grace, how are you this afternoon?
I've just come from another Zoom meeting, and but I'm feeling really good other than that. And okay. Zoom all over the place. So.
Yeah. It's funny, none of us had ever heard of this thing, and now it's just all of our lives all the time.
Zooming was zipping around.
Yeah, right.
All over the place.
I hope it gets back to that, right?
And I zip sitting on my butt.
So I have to ask, how's lockdown 3.0 treating you?
Well, my stock answer is I hate it. I like real human beings. I like to hug people and be hugged. And in not being able to go to Liverpool Parish Church and hug people there is just cruel torture. And I'm really complaining to God about it.
Well, that's
otherwise very good, really.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfectly fair thing to do. I find myself doing the same, and also missing the hugs. I mean, it's funny. I'm a real hugger, but nobody would know.
Well, most of us are English, and we're very proper. And we
right.
But Liverpool Parish Church is some real huggers, like Roger.
Yeah, like Roger. Yeah. Speaking of, do you want to talk about how you first got connected with St. Nick's? I know you've been a congregation member for a long time.
As a woman, I'm not supposed to tell you how old I am, but you can guess. It was 50 years ago when I first came. And I was nearly the end of my biology degree at university. And I'd heard there's some really interesting, sort of trendy people in their 20s at Liverpool Parish Church, and I was bored. So even though I was an atheist, I went down just to socialize. I hate to say my motivation was completely wrong, but something happened in that service that so profoundly affected me. And I was really embarrassed afterwards. But emotionally, I was so affected. And I started talking to a curate there, Father Smith. And things started. And in fact, I ultimately went on to do a PhD in philosophy and religion, try to make sense of the religious experience of what I call the holy or sacred.
Mm-hmm.
at the Mass. And yeah, I was changed. And Liverpool Parish is now very much my home. It literally, my mother church, and since I came back to faith. And now at the end of my days, I'm back again,
Mm-hmm.
50 years old.
And where did you go in the interim? What happened?
Well, yeah, okay. I fell in love with the community of the resurrection. And unfortunately, that muddled the picture but they expected you to be a priest, which meant I was supposed to get ordained. Well, Liverpool dioceses were wary. And ultimately, I realized they were right. I had this terrible split between my mind and my emotions. And I wouldn't have made a good priest. And anyway, I got my PhD in philosophy and taught much of my life in the USA. Kentucky to begin with. Was a seminarian at Louisville Diocese and loved the diocese there. Dioceses in the US are much smaller, get to know everybody kind of thing. And went on to live in Connecticut and ultimately taught in South Texas at University of Texas in philosophy. And then my mother said she was going to die, so I came back to England. She didn't really keep her promise, but anyway, we moved up to Liverpool, and hey, here I'm back again.
Here you're back. Well, we're so glad you're back, and I really appreciate you speaking with me today. So anyone out there in the congregation, do say hi to Grace. If you see her, she's really lovely and really a fascinating person to have a conversation with. So I hope to see you all very soon. Sorry?
Ian is being so polite. Yes, I am, but I won't bite you. No, it'd be really nice to chat with people when we can hug and meet again.
We can hug and meet, yeah, finally. In the coming days, it's coming, I believe it. Well, thank you very much, Grace.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, perhaps it's a good thing we haven't got in-person worship at the moment, because if you're around St Nick's at the moment or in the next few days, you'll find that every road is dug up. It's not just the roadworks on the Strand, but also a faulty power cable. So Old Churchyard is being dug up, Chapel Street's being dug up, but it'll all be back to normal by the time we resume. When we do have in-person worship, we hope that it will be when we are ready as a nation and as a city, and we'll be reviewing that in the next couple of weeks as the government gives us the roadmap of how we're going to emerge from the pandemic. That will be the right moment for us to make the decision about returning to in-person worship. However, this weekend we will be online as normal. If you're of Sunday school age, you'll get the link to join Sunday School Zoom at 11 o'clock on Sunday. For everyone, I invite you to join our online service on YouTube at 10 o'clock. And as I said earlier, bring a glass of wine or similar and join the social event at 5:30 on Zoom. Whatever you're doing in the next few days, I hope you have a very good weekend.